the activity within the inner city was more alive and full of people than the neighborhood she had first been picked up from. She strolled by a group of intoxicated young adults singing obnoxiously with one another by a crosswalk, swaying from side to side or hanging on to one another to keep their inhibited balance. She never paid them any mind, simply staring down at the pitiful amount of cash in her unkempt hands. Even when the males of the group whistled at her, she remained unfazed and undeterred from the path. She ignored the unseemly name one of them called her, and at the way they all burst up into drunken laughter again. Still, she walked down the unsavory sidewalk and soon enough got far enough away from them, to the point she couldn't hear them anymore. She shivered into her coat when a chilling wind cut into her, tousling her dyed frizzy honey blonde hair into and all around her face abruptly. She stopped where she was and fixed her hair to keep it from blinding her again, putting the small wad of cash into her coat pocket before then. Once the wind had eased up some, she suddenly found herself across the street to a building with a bright LED light sign reading for what the establishment was. What was certainly unique about it was that the chosen color for the lights were a bright lavender color. She remembered this place. She looked to her left and saw the dark alley right next to her. Right. This was the place where one of her previous classmates was killed. Failed robbery attempt as some of the girl's belongings were still on her. If her time on the streets taught her anything, it's that bad circumstances helped create bad people. Even the most docile and friendly person could be something awful if pushed over the right limit. She should know. After all, she was brought up in it, anyway. She kept walking again, and finding her mind bored enough to start reflecting on her life now that she had nothing else to do with it. Not anymore. Despite all the effort she had put into it, she had hated school with a passion. All the insensitive jerks picking on the little ones, the teachers who never cared about the kids they're solely responsible for. Just the damn system in general. But she hated her parents most of all. Despite being the ones to put her into school in the first place, she knew now it was only out of obligation and legal orders. They never truly cared whether she made something of herself or not. The only thing they did care about in regards to her was her financial contribution to the family. And the only reason she stuck with staying in school was because of all the benefits she had heard about with scholarships in college. But no matter how many times she applied herself and achieved outstanding grades, there was always something in life that came and threw a wrench into her plans. Someone more deserving, like the captain of the cheerleading team, getting the recognition that a darker and almost homeless girl could never. The teachers lying on report cards about behavior she never actually exhibited, unless defending herself from racism was something disruptive and rude to her class. Or her parents just always telling her how worthless she was and that she'd never truly amount to anything, and that she was just wasting everyone's time going to a school that was shit anyway. Or the main reason she became what she was in the first place, the birth of her younger sibling. She wasn't bitter or angry with her sibling being born. In fact, they were the only thing that kept getting her out of bed each morning. Back then. She wasn't stupid, though. She knew her mother only got pregnant because that would keep her around to make sure her mother never did anything to hurt the baby she really could have cared less about. And she would admit it worked for a while. It was the whole reason she dropped out of high school and struggled with trying to find a stable job to keep her sibling healthy and also supported for their life. And her parents ended up helping themselves to her savings and earnings as well. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Having had enough of her parents' bullshit, she decided to take her sibling and her and run off into the city to get a fresh start for just the two of them. Oh, how naive she was. As soon as her parents caught on to her plan and found her and her sibling gone, they made quick work of getting her fired from the one job she had. Now that she was effectively jobless and also homeless, she knew they expected her to come crawling back and to continue the cycle of abuse, misuse, and neglect. But just as much as she was young, she was also too proud to do such a thing. She made the best of her situation and made everything work. She cut ties with her parents, found an affordable place through her time in a city homeless shelter, and developed her street smarts and money through connections. She thought that she could build everything from the ground up, give her and her sibling as much of a good life as was capable. Just finally able to say fuck you to the parents that failed her, to the school system that never tried to help her or any others, and to the one being that many sang praises and worshipped, many a fictional story over. If there really was a God out there that truly worked the miracles depicted in all those stories, then there wouldn't have been any suffering. There wouldn't have been any evil and greedy parents eager to exploit the children they were meant to love and protect from the danger she was forced to encounter on a daily basis. No, it was just going to be her and her sibling, facing off against the injustice of the world and paving the way to their own future. But she was wrong. She walked past a completely decimated building, recalling it being a place she was able to afford most of her essentials and be introduced to some truly good people. But now it was a symbol of how far someone so full of hate would go to prove a point of pride. She continued down the sidewalk before turning a corner. She was going to be walking over a bridge to return to her home on the other side, but was surprised to find it taped off with several police cars scattered around with their red and blue lights flashing brightly. She stood onto her tiptoes to get a better look at the apparent accident that had occurred on the bridge, but her eyes widened at the awfully familiar white car crashed into the railing of the bridge, nearly teetering over the edge and into the water if anyone carelessly touched it. This shocked her, yes, but then she turned around with a shake of her head. The idiot must have gotten drunk and careless. Since the bridge was her only way back home, she supposed it was a better idea to just walk around the city some more and pass the time.